you said IBJJF is important to the team. That's kind of hard to balance individual pursuits with team pursuits. So has that been something that you've learned through wrestling, or is that something that you've learned through working with Heath and PSF, or it's been modeled to you, or like, because that's as a high level athlete that you can't live in the black or white, right? It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I did this, so I have to do the exact opposite. Like, no, we're always in the gray area and trying to just, it's a forever balance. So how do you balance the goals of the team versus your individual goals?
Well, I think if I work hard and I do what my coach tells me to do, and I focus on team stuff, my individual results are going to come. Um, I just think that a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that I do, I don't even personally want to do, but I know that it's important for the team, whether it's getting points or whether it's being there to support my teammates. And so uh, I think at the end of the day, my individual results are just a byproduct of the team that I have and doing the team stuff. Because at the end of the day, like I don't really like doing MGF tournaments, but I know they're important because they're important to Heath, and he's important to me. And so I think relationships matter, and if I have a good relationship with my coach and my team, then I think I'm gonna be able to compete to my best.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you that the research supports that a coach athlete relationship and like this team cohesion, despite it being an individual sport, is actually what contributes to more self esteem and more stable self concept. If you know who you are and your athletic identity is built into a team and the team is contributing, you have psychological safety. You have the ability to contribute. You have the ability to say, hey, what if we did it this way? Or why do you do it this way without the consequence of being punished socially? Right.
Mm,
So like
for
that
sure.
that part of the culture is like huge for you. So it's great to be able to ask you these things just because a lot of people aren't aware. They're not, and it's not a self-awareness, it's a like a cultural or societal type of awareness. And plus, you obviously came up in organized sport. And this is not an organized sport by any means. So
Yeah.
you had like a clear structure of hierarchy. It was like admin and organizers, coaches, and it just kind of went down so you knew where you stood. And here it's kind of this collective where I know Heath, and Heath is someone who doesn't want to be called professor and doesn't want to be held on a pedestal. He's like, no, just value what I have and let's keep it a lateral hierarchy. So I think honestly, that does make sense that your individual results are a byproduct of like,
Yeah, for sure.
for the most part, that's also true because it's a paradox, right? Sometimes if you care so much about outcome, the outcome will always elude you, right? So it's like the carrot on the stick. So it's like if I focus on the task at hand, if I focus on the process, then winning will just be a consequence.
Yep, exactly.
Got it.
Agreed.
Okay. But like, what about when you say, okay, so I'm not going to focus on winning. I'm going to focus on doing my best. I got to do my best. I got to show up on that day the strongest, fastest, most fueled, most hydrated, most mentally prepped, most planned out game plan in order to do my best and what's called a peak performance, which a lot of sports psychology businesses are called. Um, and because that implies that like you have to have this one performance state, this one zone, this one thing that will allow you to win, like how do you deal with that? How do you deal with wanting to do your best, but also not getting into the whole, I call it the beep boop of like trying to calculate everything instead of just doing the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, in college, I got a lot of practice, obviously, with wrestling, and I don't know, like what I say to myself before I compete, and before every single match, I always say the same thing, and it just kind of helps me get to like a good mental state, which is like I do my people think I'm like praying, but I'm not. I just do like 10 deep breaths, and then I just say like win or lose, you're more than this moment, and then I just treat it like it's practice, and uh, sometimes I perform better than others, sometimes I don't, but at the end of the day. I just try to like surrender and just let my body do what it's gonna do. And sometimes I'm gonna win pretty, and sometimes I'm gonna win ugly, and then sometimes I'm gonna lose. And the only thing that's consistent is uh, that I'm gonna get a hard warm up. I'm gonna do my 10 deep breaths, and I'm gonna tell myself the that's basically surrender the outcome, and I'm gonna compete. And I try to just focus on that because at the end of the day, like my emotions are really fluid depending on the tournament. Sometimes I'll be more nervous, sometimes I'll be less nervous. And so I just try to focus on what I can control, which in my opinion, I can't control my nerves. You know, obviously people think maybe some people can. I can't. I felt like I was going to throw up before every match at trials, whereas like at Nogi Pants, I didn't feel that way, even though pretty much had the same opponents there. Uh, but what I do focus on as a matter of what tournament is get my good warm up in, do my deep breaths, and then just try to, you know, surrender the outcome and be okay with whatever result happens.
Yeah, you described a lot of my philosophy, a lot of it. So where did you get this information from? How did you arrive at, well, okay, I'm going to have a routine. I'm going to have a routine that sets me up every time. I'm going to have certain self-talk that I know produces a certain feeling and emotion and preparedness in myself. I know when to do these things. I know that I need to get the hard warm-up in, meaning I call it the match before the match, and getting
Yeah.
that out of the way and letting your endorphins and epinephrine, norepinephrine, all this stuff going through your body. And the fact that you have acceptance of what will be is only in what I can control. So like you are basically going through like chapters of a sports psychology book, yet you
Really.
haven't worked with a sports psychologist. So
Yeah.
where is this coming from? Where is this information?
Yeah, I mean, the particular story is like I actually have like a moment in time I tell people about is when I was a sophomore in college, I wrestled this guy from my rival school, and I had such a terrible match. I didn't warm up. I wasn't really doing any self talk or anything. And my high school wrestling coach, who I lived with when I was in high school, he was there to watch the match. He was like, "Man, you looked terrible in that match. Like, what was going on?" I was like, I don't know. Like, the guy was ranked this. I was just so worried. You know, he's a really athletic guy. I just couldn't really warm up. I couldn't do anything. So I was just kind of bouncing around, treating that like it was a warm up, and I wasn't really, you know, calming myself down. I wasn't saying anything to calm myself down. I was way too focused on the guy. And then I had a talk with him, my high school coach, and he was like, "Hey man, like we need to develop a routine because up to now your warm up's been random, everything's been random." And then I asked him. He was an MMA fighter. He fought in Bellator. He was like, "This is what I did. Why don't you? You don't have to do this, but why don't you try this?" Before your tournaments, like your pre-match and then the warm-up right before your matches, and you just need to find a way to just talk to yourself. You just calm yourself down. And so the next match right after, I faced another guy who was even better, and I practiced that warm-up that my coach showed me, and then I just practiced doing the 10 deep breaths because he's the one who gave me the 10 deep breaths idea because that's what he would do before he fought. And then I started with that's how I started with the surrender the outcome stuff. Like, you know, win or lose, you're more than this moment is specifically what I say to myself. And then I felt really good. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this before every single match. And that was in 2019 was when that happened, those national duels in Louisville, Kentucky. And I've just repeated that process in jiu-jitsu. And, you know, I've lost with that process. I've won with that process, but I've felt my best with it regardless.
Yeah. So your high school coach was the one that gave this to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, not a lot of coaches would know to do this because I know because I have a master's in like the research and all this. And I know that the competition process, especially for an IBJJF, because that's my kind of world, what I came up in. So it was like, you're just a cog in the wheel. Like you're just, okay, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. Like, and I could say like back in my day when I first started, there were paper brackets up on the wall and you had to go find it when you arrived. And like, you know, because I started in like 2009. So I didn't have the smooth comp. We didn't have the screens like later on, obviously. So it was more or less like you have to expect chaos. You have to expect that you can't control anything. And it's very much like going on an airplane and you're going on a trip. You cannot control who sits next to you. You can't control if the plane is delayed. You can't control the corny jokes that the pilot says. You can't control whether or not it's freezing. Like there's so many things that you maybe might be able to influence. But for the most part, you have to relinquish that control. I will literally, before I go into an airport, kind of go, okay. Because I used to get so mad. I used to travel a lot. So if I was up and I would have my roller bag, and I'd be in the worst group. So there'd be no more overhead space. So they would check my bag and I would let it ruin my day. I would be so mean to the person that was telling me this, and it's just their job. So
Yeah.
like there were so many times of like non-acceptance, or like my quote was that I stole from Cobrinha was never let things happen, make them happen. I'm the guy that's like stuffing things into, like I'm forcing things. And so surrender just sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. Like, what do you mean you're going to surrender? Like, what? You're going to be like, whatever happens, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
all good, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like Sid the Sloth or something. But like, if it's not, then how do you make sure that you are rising to the occasion with this routine while also feeling the presence of the moment? And before you say that, I will say more meaning creates more stress. So obviously, you already said that the ADCC trials is more important than Nogi Pans. So
Yeah.
there you go. When you are
Mhm.
not afraid to lose, or you're not thinking about the peak moment, I've got to arrive. I have to do it today. It's now or never, or 2 years from now, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Sorry, I just like said a lot. So I hope
No,
that you
you're
got
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But sorry, what was your question? I was like,
Exactly. Now I'm like, what was my question?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
How do you balance that? Like, I want to rise to the occasion, but I'm also only able to control what I can control, because how do you like surrender and accept while also making it happen?
yeah. I like the, I don't know. I posted like a GSP, a video of my GSP, a quote, funny because I live in Montreal, so I love GSP. And obviously, I can't say the full quote or but essentially, it's like this idea that if I prepare the right way, no matter what I feel, uh, I just have to let my body do what it knows how to do. Um, and so whether I feel like throwing up that day or I feel loose, the result's probably gonna be very consistent. Um, I just have to like remind myself, just let my body do what it's gonna do. And the only way to do that is like I think there's false confidence, which is like people running their mouth and saying like I'm the best, and then there's confidence through preparation, and being like, okay, yeah, I'm tired, I suck, or like I feel like I suck today, but uh, this guy probably sucks worse than me on my worst day, And so I think proper preparation will guide you even when you're not feeling the most confident against your opponent. Um, and yeah, I mean, I pretty much just kind of rely on that. And so for me, I think I'm a bit of like a workaholic. Maybe I train too much. That sounded weird, but I'm just like, I want to put myself in the worst positions every day. I want to do the cardio as much as possible during the week. And I want to be like, okay, if I get into this spot in this jiu-jitsu match, I want to be able to just know that I can just take a second to breathe and like find my way out of it. And so no matter if I'm nervous, tired, feeling good, like my preparation is just for me, if right, if my preparation is right, then I think your results are going to be very consistent across the board. No matter what my emotions are, right? Because I can't control my emotions, uh, but I can control my preparation, and that's pretty much what I try to focus on.
I love that you say that the hard work that you do kind of makes it so that you can feel prepared. There is this essence of discipline here of like, if you are disciplined in the most controllable part of your camp, which is mostly your training environment, depends on how much autonomy you have. I think you likely do have a lot, because it's not some black belt where we're bowing to dead guys on the wall and
Yeah,
shit like that. So
yeah,
if you're able to make a lot more decisions in your training, then you can control it. You get to control your schedule. You get to control, what you do, what you put in your body, the things that you think, the things that you are influenced by, right? But as it gets leading up, starting with that damn airport travel, it's like
yeah,
you relinquish, okay, so I just have to adapt. I just have to adapt. If I know that I can regulate, but I also need to adapt to the circumstances and the environment. So I need to be attuned to the environment, right? But not let it control everything. So there's that balance again. So then now, like actual maybe night before slash morning of, when you get to the venue, that is the surrender. There's
yeah,
nothing you can do to cram for the test. There is
yeah,
nothing you
exactly.
can do that is going to prepare you that you haven't done. So that discipline and all of that hard work, it allows you to surrender because you're leaning on it because you earned it. You earned
100%.
that preparation. Now, my feeling is like, I don't always know that I'm prepared because I've been around coaches who have said that you can always do more. Basically, the not enough monster and the never enough. And like, I trained under these, multiple time world champions, and it was like they're not satisfied. So then it became never be satisfied with your previous performances, and this insatiable hunger because that's the cool thing to do, and to dedicate your entire life and put it all in. And that was what I was, that's what I was modeled. And so how do you feel prepared knowing that you did everything while also giving yourself the space to say, oh, I need to recover a little more today, or like, yeah, I am going to do this instead of this, or adapt
Mhm.
within it. So how do you know if you can say like, man, not every stone was turned over?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I trust my coach. He's better go put me tells me to do, uh, like the week of a competition is very easy. I'm pretty much doing whatever I'm going to do. But those weeks before the competition, especially like the last 2 or 3 weeks, are kind of you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of peaking, right? I just do what he tells me to do, right? And so Heath is very good at being like, yeah, you're not training for a second time today. Okay, well, I guess
Yes.
I'm not training for a second time today. Like that's how it is. Brandon, I need you to come in here tonight. I need you to do a second training. Okay, well, I guess I'm coming in tonight. And so just like I talked about earlier, it's like you kind of have to believe in your coach and your team. And I've also been around a lot of really successful coaches, right? My college wrestling coach had like so many, NAI national champions. So it's like I know when I know a coach is good, right? And I don't really follow too much of like I don't believe in all the bravado that lots of coaches have. I'm just kind of like I want a coach that like can kind of read his athletes and treat us like individuals and not treat us all like we're this collective robot. And that's why I really like Heath is because he treats me kind of like my college wrestling coach. He treats me like an individual. Some things Pixley might need, maybe I don't need, or some things I need Pixley might not need. And same with like Kyle, Jalil, Jacob, and all the other people at the gym, right? And so essentially, whatever he thinks I should do to prepare on the mats, I do. What my strength and conditioning coach wants me to do to prepare off the mats, I do. What my nutritionist wants me to eat off the mats, I do. And so when those like all things align, it's like I don't know, it's like a trinity, right? Like I got
Mm-hmm.
my diet, I got my lifting, I got my jiu-jitsu. That's the confidence. And so I'm like, I have really good people around me that I trust. And that makes me a lot less anxious. And then obviously the week of competition is pretty much just like, don't change anything, don't add anything. Like, pretty much we dial back on intensity. We just focus on getting in the room, getting our heart rate up, feeling good, doing the drills we're going to do, doing the live games that I like to do, eating the same stuff, and just kind of having gratitude that the week is here and that this is what I want to do. Like this is what I do. This is what I train for. This is what I diet for. This is what I work out for. And I don't know. I think all those things come together. That's my trinity, right? It's like all those things come together, and then the competition comes, and I follow the same process I've followed since 2019, and just let it be. Whatever happens, happens.
It's beautiful. I think especially because you're talking about you have more autonomy that week of, right? Because you may
Mhm.
not be by Heath's side. He's not going to,
Exactly.
right? Like you have to make decisions for yourself. He may not even be there to coach you, or
100%.
right. So like you have to take the reins a little bit more, right? And then obviously, so it sounds to me, it's like it's not really discipline, it's trust. And trust
Yeah.
in your coaches, that's hard to find. It's
Yeah.
very hard to find, especially in this sport. It's
Yeah.
very hard to find coaches that have the capacity to individualize their approach because they might still be competing themselves. They might still be focused on themselves as well. So it makes it very hard to dedicate themselves. You may not have someone who's seen the dark sides of the sport who understands what, like borderline or abusive coaching looks like, and that,
Mhm.
hey, that doesn't work. That breaks down your athlete. That
Mhm.
makes robots. That makes someone who's just submissive to me, right? But
Mhm.
guess what? There's no remote control. You can't play for your you can't play for your athlete. You can't play for your athlete. You have to trust that your athlete is going to make the right decisions. You cannot teach them, or you cannot just teach them jujitsu. You have to teach them how to fish. right?
100%.
You can't just say, hey, regurgitate this, do what I say, right? So that's being
100%.
psychologically flexible. So that's what you have.
100%.
Now, what you said about what you tell yourself about that, like your purpose and why you do what you do, there's three different motivations you have there. You have, this is what I do. So it's very integrated into your identity. So you don't have to question whether should I do this or should I do that. It's without question. This is my identity. I'm working within my values. I'm working within my core of who I am and what I set out to do. Then you have the commitment level, which says I have a goal. So, and the integrity to myself, again, the values, you're saying like, if I set out to do a goal, like I'm going to try my hardest to reach it. And then the last one is like, I want to do it. And this is something that people lack because they get so into the struggle and the discomfort of what it feels like in the moment that they realize like, oh, I don't enjoy this, but they don't root themselves to a deeper purpose that says, yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be struggle. It's going to hurt sometimes. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
good pain. Sometimes it's bad pain. Like
Yeah.
if you can accept that and expect it and then go out there and say, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. I understand what I'm up against, these demands, but I have the resources. And I have the resources not because I was a lone wolf and I had to hire all of these people and they don't really care about me. They're just giving me their program that they sell to everybody and I'm doing this a la carte method. Like, no, you have a system and you have people that you trust,
For
which is
sure.
so hard to find sometimes.
I'm lucky.
And so right? Like, so that, essentially you have three basic psychological needs that are being met. You have autonomy. He's never going to be like, you have to do this. It's like, if you're like, I don't want to, he's going to be like, all right, cool, dude. Like, just a
Yeah, it's on you.
suggestion. Yeah, that's on you, right? Take ownership. And then you have competence. So meaning like it's not just outcomes like, oh, I passed this guy's guard or I submitted this guy. You're also thinking like, oh, well, he gave me feedback. He said that my pressure in that certain spot was actually really tight, or he gave me feedback. So you kind of know where you stand and how good you are because you have this feedback and you have actual like, I make a difference. And then belonging, which is huge. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of times when you come into these high level gyms, you only belong. They only care about you if you are a good body, if you are able to help them with something, if you are valuable on the mat in some way. Rarely is it when you walk through that door, oh my God, it's a human being.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's how you go.
I'm gonna give human decency to this human being,
Yeah.
regardless of whether they're a white belt, whether they're gonna give me money, whether they're gonna whatever, right?
Hmm.
And so a lot of times in these rooms, you don't have belonging. You have someone who's looking up and wanting to be part of it, but it's not reciprocated. Belonging
100%.
needs to be fucking reciprocated. And it is rarely. It is such a, I must adore the person above me. I must,
Yeah.
oh, respect, like if I pass your guard, you gave it to me. I didn't earn it, like
Man,
it's crazy, right? With the mercy of
100%.
whatever. So like merit versus mercy. Merit is like, I earned this and I know I earned it versus like questioning yourself because you're not supposed to beat that person or you're not supposed to or I shouldn't or you might get I don't know penalized or stonewalled because you or gaslit, right? So all of that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ego stuff that I'm sure you're aware of. So the last thing is just the build up to the match. So tell me the circumstance, what you were feeling right before the finals match, because there was a break, right? How long was the break?
It wasn't long. It was my semifinals match happened and then there was probably like 40 minutes in between my semis and my finals match because they had to run for the third place matches.
Okay.
Yeah, the build-up was, I mean, I just knew Nick was going to be such a tough opponent because we had just faced each other. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just knew he was going to be a really, really tough opponent. We faced each other last month. I knew we were going to face each other again next month, most likely. And uh, I don't know. I just felt grateful that I had such a, like, we're both brown belts. I have like one of the best guys in the world in my division who I get to compete against a lot. And I thought, well, this is really cool. I got DQ'd in our last match. I was winning with like 30 seconds left to go at no meat hands. And then I had some negatives, and I talked to the ref. I asked the ref, "Hey, did I get my 2 points?" He was like, "Yeah," boom, and then DQ. And I had no idea. Like I said, I only do IBJJF for the team, so I wasn't really studying the rules. Um, that was like really heartbreaking. But regardless, like anything could have happened in the 30 seconds. He could have lead locked me in that last 30 seconds. So like, there's not a guarantee that I would have won that match, regardless. Like it doesn't really matter. So before the match, pretty much, I was like, okay, this is a good chance for me to get another match with this really good guy. I'm nervous. This guy, he broke everyone's leg. Leading up to the final, he submitted everyone except for one person with leg locks, and I was just like, all right, let's just be patient here. Let's breathe. Let's do our breathing thing. Let's try not to think. And like let's just do what we do. We know Nick's amazing. I had a pretty good game plan for him. Let's just kind of do what we do and let's see what happens. And that's kind of what I thought. And then did my 10 deep breaths, 10 deep breaths. I said, no matter if I win or lose, I'm more this moment. And then I walked out to the mat and I was ready to go.
So before this video starts, you've already done that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Were you standing like where he is?
Yeah, exactly. Like where he's down on his knees, I was like right there in the side. I did my slap bump and my slap hug with Pixley and Heath. I love talking to Pixley before I compete, man. That guy hypes me up so much. And I wouldn't even say he hypes me up. He like helps center me, like helps just make me relax. He just I don't even remember what he said to me. He just basically said, go out, like this is your match to win, like some stuff like that. But he's one of my best friends, and so it's really nice to have like a guy that I'm like kind of on in the streets with, right next to me too, along with Heath. Same thing, slap hug Heath. Did my little routine, then I went out there and competed.
So when you say like, let's see what happens, it's so crazy because if I said that to a lot of high level guys, they'd be like, what do you mean? Let's see what happens. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to I'm not going to just see, like, I'm not here to wait and see what this guy, And so yeah, it's interesting because it still brings about I've done the work. I just have to let my body do what it's going to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I was obviously aware, like I know because I've had the same thing, like the same conversation with some other high level guys, and they're like, "Well, you don't care what's gonna happen." I'm like, "No, like I studied this guy very, very hard. Like I know that if he gets into my leg, he can break my leg. I'm very like well studied, and I respect my partner, and I do want to win. But at the end of the day, like we've talked about, it's like all the I've done a million hours of situational rounds with legs. I've done a million with lead lock games, with some of the eco stuff. I've done a lot of drilling. I'm kind of just like, if I get submitted, then it wasn't really meant to be. It is what it is. It's just the game. At the end of the day, it's just a game, right? And it's an important game, and I love this game, and I want to win in this game. But at the end of the day, it's just a game, So whatever happens, happens.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously, you guys have the full range of the mat. Did that change anything for you in terms of mat awareness? Because before you had a smaller mat?
No, I don't think about none of that. It's all just like my feet are on the mat. Let's do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, he can't pull without getting a penalty, right? Because it's the finals.
Yeah.
Okay. So you anticipated he's going to stand with me.
Yeah, I anticipate just because under the rules that he's gonna stay on the team, but what most people don't know about Nick, because most people are like, well, why don't you just like, you should just be like, just smashing him with like crazy shots or fakes or whatever. Like he has one of the best guillotines in the world, right? So most people don't know that. Like even Mo Jackson didn't know who Nick was before this, and he's won worlds at every belt, right? Including brown belt, which he's still brown belt. Yeah, and so I'm like, no, I'm not going to just like do random shots on this and just pick this dude's leg up. So I'm going to be patient and hand fight with them and kind of just see where this match goes, and just kind of take my time. Right, it's 8 minutes. It's not a wrestling match, right? Everyone wants it to be like a wrestling match where like you're immediately shooting on the legs, but you're like, well, let's say I shoot on the legs and I take him down. Well, what did I really get for that? Nothing. How about let's burn some time off this clock. Let's just kind of fill him out here. Let's try to pull on his head and try to get him tired. He's really tall, so it's actually really hard to pull on his head.
Success right there.
And let's just do what we do,
Yeah.
And so,
why did you not chase that when he went down?
because if he stayed down, it would have been a negative. So I was like, if he stays down, it's a negative because we're the finals of ADCC trials. Uh,
It would look like his choice. I see. Okay.
yeah, exactly. So, like, because the snap's not a takedown, right? If I foot sweep you and he stays down, then it's not a negative. But if I just snap your hands to the mat and then you just stay down, that's a negative on you.
Mhm.
So I was just like, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna pace this. He did a really good arm drag here, uh, but again, I wrestle with like the best guys, some of the best like jiu-jitsu wrestlers in the world. So I wasn't
Yeah.
really too worried about it. But he did a good job here because now he doesn't get a negative because he hit a shot, right? Which I was like,
Right.
okay, well, there's 6 minutes left. Like this is gonna be a scrap.
Your ability to make all of these calculations in the moment is pretty great.
Thank you. Lots of studying.
Yeah, yeah. No, but like also to be present, to be
Yeah.
aware, because you are now taking in the time, you're taking in like a little bit of the mat awareness, right? Like
Mhm.
not so much in ADCC because you have all this time and or you have all the space, and then you also have the ability to go off the mats if need be. So it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
really, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but you have that full awareness. Are you also listening to Heath?
Yes, very much. Like uh I actually was really surprised by Nick's like takedown attempt. I was like, oh, I didn't really expect him to do that arm drag. I felt very safe like when we got there, but I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to start passing his guard now, and so I looked at the clock and I kind of looked over at Heath too to be like, all right, we're good. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's go. We got 6 minutes left. Let's figure this out.
Okay. So
They moved to the center.
yeah, the resetting. Does resetting bother you at all?
Nope.
Okay.
I can't control it. It's out of my control. It's like just breathe,
Yep.
right?
You
Um,
just use the time wisely.
yeah, exactly. And the thing was like in these positions with these guys that are really good leg lockers, it's like I don't mind getting close to them, but I'm kind of just looking for some extension from them. But Nick is probably one of the most disciplined people with like his elbows, where it's like if he
Mm,
reaches, he's not reaching with his elbows super far flared out. So it's like we gotta kind of just be patient and like I want him to come to me, right? I don't want to have to like walk into him.
right.
Um, and as long as I'm not like backing up, like I'm fine,
It's a fine line.
But there's a fine line, right? So I'm like, okay, he's starting to get close. I'm just trying to see what he's going to do. Uh, like I said, he's so good at playing the seated guard. I've gone with a lot of good guys to seated guard, but I mean, he's just so long and so good at getting into the legs that I'm just like, all right, we gotta close it off. Like we gotta be very, very careful
Hmm.
here, or he's gonna do that John Wayne sweep that he likes to do and get into
Hmm.
the far leg. And so yeah, he submitted everyone with pretty much that sequence in the whole tournament. So I'm like, we got to be careful here.
Yeah. You are not afraid to disengage at all. Some
No,
people have this like weird conscience of like, no, I have to be going forward and I don't want to get called for stalling. And but you guys were called for they said they called for action 1 minute in.
yeah,
Did that have anything to do
no,
with your it didn't change anything? You just
because
kept on
action's not
going.
stalling. It's
Right.
action is not a warning or stalling. So I can pretty much eat those, right? Like until and you can kind of play the game and be like, okay, this is going to be a warning. This is going to be a stalling call.
You can
So
strategize that way.
yeah, you got to know when to go in hard and when to not go in hard because again, anyone who's actually competed in like a higher level jiu-jitsu understands that like too much forward pressure is going to get you got, so kind of just figuring out what I can do, what I can do, what can I get away with, what I can't get away with, it really just depends.
Affordances, constraints.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Um,
right.
so like being able to avoid things. Sometimes I would say, well, we don't want to work on avoidance. We want to work on approach. Like, what are we seeking? What are we trying to score? Like, we're seeking score. We're seeking inches. We're seeking whatever. How do you not get into an avoidant game? Is it just I avoid in this moment? Okay, cool, reset. Is it just like a reset moment? Because like before this, you were dancing out. It was like the Grinch. It was great. You were like dancing
Yeah.
out of it. So it'd be like, and then you
Yeah.
came back around.
Yeah. I think it just has to be in the moment. Like I'm not again, it's like I've I do so. I was telling someone like I'm very good at escaping leg locks. I train with like some of the best leg lockers in the world. I do leg lock rounds every single day. I have for years. So it's like not that like I'm scared to get like leg locked or something. It's more that you don't want to play the 50-50 of it all the time. And you have to kind of be you have to approach a really good guy a lot differently than you have to approach someone that is just not on your level. And so I try to find like the little openings that I can't find. And again, that's going to be different based on every opponent, based on, or even based on what type of guard my opponent is playing, right? Like Nick really likes to play seated guard. So it's like, I'm not going to just step into the seated guard and like let him
Right.
go shin to shin on me, right? Um,
Yeah.
it really is, anyone who's done jiu-jitsu, you just gotta like approach everyone a little bit differently. And I'll go forward when I see that I have a good opportunity to go forward.
Okay. So you're constantly assessing and navigating.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just constantly reading the task in the environment. I
Yeah,
can't help it. It's just a great framework.
yeah,
So here, like obviously you don't want to be elevated, right? So this is a word that one of my coaches here in Niagara, Scott Jutras, says hunkering, hunker.
mm,
And it really stuck with me because it's a weird word. And I like saying it over and over again, but
yeah,
you're hunkering here.
yeah.
That was one of your plans, right? To just not get in. Was it like, I'm going to pass with pressure? I know how I want to pass. Or is it, I'm going to stay safe first and read the situation?
I had uh, he's really good at like locking you down from half guard with his legs. Like you can see he'll lock his legs here. So kind of the goal was like get my wrist free and then get into like a knee cut position. So like I was trying to slowly work into the knee cut position because I'm pretty comfortable there, even against good leg blockers. But you have to just really approach it really specifically with him because he has a really good Kimura
Mm.
also. So I'm just like I have to kind of just slowly work my way to the knee cut position while fighting hands, right? Like I'm slowly trying to build up here. And again, the ref warns me, and I'm just like I don't care. I'm just going to ignore you, and I'm just gonna keep trying to fight hands and just slowly try to free my right knee and get into this knee cut position where I feel really really safe. But again, it's just fine balance where he's so strong that like if you see the knee starting to get out,
Mhm.
he's so strong that if you do anything too fast, he's gonna elevate you, right? So I'm
Yeah.
keeping my head low, kind of down blocking with my head, and I'm just trying to like slowly free my knee out. Because in our last match, I kind of got in trouble just sitting in that half guard. In this match, the goal was like get my knee out and make him really work for it if he wants to force me into half guard. He does this really well where he'll fight the wrist. But I'm just like, it's okay. Let's pin his wrist down and let's get our knee free and then let's work from here. And
Yeah.
obviously, like for some people on the outside, they might not understand what I'm doing. They're like, oh, why isn't he just spazzing out and like knee cutting right here? And I'm just like, man, this guy's very high level what he does. I'm just going to slowly work my knee out, just slowly work my knee out and try to keep my legs safe. Now he has to open his legs, and that's what I wanted. Now I can get out and I can stand back up. Right. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
kind of my mindset is like slowly trying to get my knee out the whole time with him because he's so amazing, especially in like that half guard or half butterfly position. So I just you trying to keep myself safe and then trying to like I was trying to get to that double unders. But man, he's really hard to get anything on. Like he's the most. I told Flo this before the tournament. I was like, this guy he has the best guard in the tournament. This was before the tournament even started. I was like, he's the second best guy here, for me. And
Yeah.
I think that margin is very small, right? He can beat me 100%. He can beat me, and I can beat him.
Hmm.
But I felt like the rest of the field wasn't there, But us were like dead even. I kind of feel.
So you are both engaging in those micro battles.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people either don't see them, aren't aware of them, didn't know they had a chance, like that, a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't know they're like frontline defense. Obviously, you're a hand fighter. That's where
Yeah, exactly.
everything starts. So like
Yeah,
you don't sit there and your mind doesn't compartmentalize and say, I am doing jujitsu. I am no longer standing. I don't
yeah,
need to
exactly.
hand fight. Like I just need to get chest to chest. Like we
Yeah,
skip
exactly.
over all of these things, but at the same time, too much engagement in a micro game. Because sometimes those micro games, you could literally just be like, nope, not playing that, And
That's
so it's,
it. That's it. You understand. Yeah,
yes,
you understand.
yes. So it's like sometimes how do you know when to engage? I think I know, but like you try the don't want to play that and they're like, want to bet? Like we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. So
exactly. It's kind of just like, all right, take what we can get. Like here, I kind of do something that most people like. I kind of give him my leg here on purpose because I know that if I stand
mhm.
up, he wants to get to my left leg. So I kind of give him my right leg because I'm really good at defending on both, but I know he's worse at finishing on my right leg. And he's gonna get in my legs. Like if he gets, I knew if he got to close the door, he's gonna get to my legs. So it's like
It's
I'm
so
gonna give
funny.
him the leg that he's worse at using. Like, he's worse at attacking, so I stepped up with my right leg.
You're
Right.
like, yeah, I
So
bet you want that leg.
yeah, I knew he wants the left leg so bad. So I was like, I'm just gonna give him the right leg and I'm gonna let this exchange happen. Because I wasn't really too worried that he was gonna be able to like finish me here. But again, I was like looking at the ref like, come on, man, I just gave him my leg. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, this dude's 6'5", 260 pounds. Like,
So it's not okay from the outside perspective, it is not evident that you gave him the leg from it. Like not everybody's gonna pick up on that. Some
yeah,
people might
yeah,
go, what an idiot. Some people might go like, oh, he's just trying to stand up. He's trying to get his base. He's trying to,
yeah,
so like to know now what your intentions were, it makes it so much more interesting to see that because you're like, oh, that was on purpose. Because on purpose versus panicking and trying to figure it out versus trying something versus, testing the waters.
yeah, yeah.
We don't know until you figure. That's why I like getting into people's
Yeah,
heads.
no, for sure. Yeah, because I knew that no matter what I did, he would get on the legs, and I was like, I can play legs really well with him. So I was like,
You
well, we're
thought
gonna
about
play
it.
legs, but yeah, I was like, we're gonna play legs under my terms. Like,
hmm
I most people don't know that I do a lot of legs, so I was like, okay, we're gonna play legs under my terms and not under his. And I think I was able to kind of do that by basically keeping him in my right leg, instead of my left, where he's really good at finishing on the left. He's
hmm
good on finishing on the right, obviously too, but he's like super high level at finishing the left leg.
Right. Right. So obviously you're in. It looks like defense mode, but how do you consider? I've been called for action a couple times. Do I open up here and make action happen, or
Yeah,
do I sit here and just play this little game?
I I was like cool with playing the game here. Like I was like, okay, he's gonna grab my foot and he's gonna try to like heel hook me. He tried to do toe hold, and then I just was like, all right, uh, I'm gonna be fine here. I'm just gonna hand fight, and I'm gonna like focus on trying to reattack his legs, and then I'm gonna like
Nullifying.
slowly try to yeah, I'm gonna slowly try to split his feet. Was kind of the goal. Like don't run away, split the feet, right? Like so I'm slowly gonna try to get his left leg out, right? Right now his
hmm
right leg is out. I'm slowly gonna try to like work it to where his left leg is out to my like left side. Because now I know anytime I can get my both my partner's feet on one side when they're trying to leg lock me, I can start to split feet, and then you're pretty much not going to be able to finish me if I can split your feet, even if you have like a heel hook or an ankle lock. So I was just slowly like, I need to just fight hands and slowly get that leg out. And once I split feet, I'm going to be free. He's going to have to like overcommit to something.
Got it. Because there's a minute left. How much are
Exactly.
you aware that there's a minute left? Like, when did you know that there was a minute left? Was it right when because I don't have the audio on, but
I don't know. I didn't know. I had
hmm,
no idea. Maybe I
interesting.
looked up at the scoreboard. I'm not sure, but like I don't think consciously I knew that there was a minute left.
Really? Okay. So you're
Yeah.
not using that as a decision-making process, like of I gotta go.
No. I was
You're
like,
still
because
just
I
like
was fine with going to
patient.
overtime. I was like, if we go to overtime, that kind of favors me. So I was like, whatever.
Okay. I thought maybe you were trying to go to overtime by nullifying more so than trying to finish. Although I know what happens.
Yeah.
So it's like that wasn't the case, but now I know you were engaging in a certain mini battle, micro get, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it.
And I was like, I knew I could leg lock him too if I get both of his feet to one side. Like again, and he's a really good leg locker, but I think I'm a pretty good leg locker too. But most people just don't know that because I don't do that when I'm competing because I don't want to. It's
That's
not that
so,
like I can't, it's just I don't want to, you know.
yeah,
But I can if I have to. Like here, I'll start to
that's
split
deep.
the feet. Yeah, but I know I'm good right here. I start to split the feet and I get a little bit of the Junie lock going
Nice.
where I start to attack his foot. And now he has to overcommit because I start to attack the foot. And then, yeah, once I start to get to the back, I feel like I can take most people's backs. Like once I see the back, I'm pretty good at taking the back.
What are you focusing more on? Is it like the chest to back connection? Is it the seat belt? Is it where your hips are? Like, what is your cue there to know if you're going to be
Uh,
able to get it?
if he defends the rear naked choke, that's my biggest cue. Is like as he starts to roll, I start to shoot the hand across the neck. And
Mm,
when one of his hands comes up, that means I can always throw a leg over to one or the other sides. So like the focus here, like when I'm on top, is like I just want to, I'm a little high here, but I have a wrist ride. Like with wrestling, we call it like a wrist
mhm.
ride, and my other hand is punching the choke. And I know like if they start to defend, there's going to be space between the elbows and the knees, and I'm going to try to take advantage of that space.
Okay. So you're attacking while you're getting your
Yeah.
positional dominance.
Yeah, exactly. Because the problem is like I'm only trying to score the turtle here without like threatening his neck. He's just never going to open up. So like I just try to shoot the rear naked choke, and he opens up, and I trap the arm, and I'm like, all right, I'm good here. Once my chest gets onto his back like this, I'm like, I scored for sure.
So
Um,
at what point did you know that the clock was ticking down?
I did. I had no idea.
So that
I just saw,
urgency was just like hunger.
yeah, I just was like, I don't, yeah, and like I guess I could feel that the match was probably coming to an end, and I was just like, I see the back. I really want to take the back. And so I was like, if I can score this now, I don't know how much time there is left, but I was like, if I can score this now, I'm gonna win. And even if I don't score this, when we go into overtime, it's gonna count like towards like a decision at the end, right? Because it would
Mm.
have been like I had the most significant thing, right? I even had the closest submission attempt. I caught his heel, right? He never caught mine. So I was like, I'm up on two like invisible scores under ADCC rules. I have the submission attempt, like the deeper submission attempt, and I had the back attempt.
Yeah, the phantom advantages.
Yeah, that's why exactly. ADCC people don't realize that those are things. Like those
Yes.
matter. So I knew I was up on like some small battles there, but I still was just like, if I can score, score, So
Right. So as far as here, you say like, "Oh, I know I scored." So what's your feeling here? Yeah, you're like, you're like
yeah,
suggestion
I'm like,
four,
yeah, I
maybe?
was like, yeah, because yeah, exactly. I was like, so under ADCC rules, if you cross your legs, it's not a score. Right?
Right.
So
Okay.
that's what they were questioning. They were like, did I cross my legs? But I never crossed my legs. My legs are always like this, which is why I got the score. Right. So it's like this minute little detail that if I go body triangle, I score. But if I go body triangle and his knee is past my hip, I don't score. If I put both of my feet in like this, I score. But if my feet cross, I don't score.
And this was
Right. So
in your head, or was it
yes.
automatic because you've never let in training, you never let yourself cross over?
No, I just was like, don't cross your feet. I
It
was
was
just
just,
like,
yeah.
do
Okay.
not cross your feet. Do not cross your feet.
You're like,
Um,
just touch them, touch them.
Yes, just touch your feet. Just touch your feet. Because I knew I couldn't body triangle. It's too big.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of short for my weight class, so I
Right. You're
was like, there's no
stocky.
way I'm gonna body triangle. So I was like, do not cross your
That's
feet.
fair.
Like let's just get and put my chin. I was like trying really hard to put my chin on his trap. Because like another thing is if my chin is off of his trap and his back is out even a little bit, it won't count as a back take. So like when I take the back, I'm like this. Like
Hmm.
I'm trying really hard to get
Dracula.
my yeah, exactly. I'm trying really hard to get close to him to be like, hey, like my chest and his back were touching. Like and there's no way you can say it wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's what I was really focused on, just like school, like the tightness of scoring here.
You're so particular and it's like you don't think about what just happened. You're only thinking about what is currently happening. You're not thinking
Yeah,
about what could happen. You're not thinking
no,
about, oh no, I don't want to burn out my arms for overtime. Like,
no, I don't care. Yeah, it's like I don't care. It
right?
doesn't
Something
matter.
that Marcelo used to always say is like, give everything in your matches because you may not get another match.
Yeah, it's
Like,
nothing guaranteed.
focus on what you can control, which people hear that all the time, but in action, they don't understand what it means, which is allowing other things. It's not only focus on what you control and reject everything else. It's like whether you like it or not, You have to be aware of it, but you also are able to filter it out. Ignoring the ref is
Yeah.
hilarious to me because
I
to
don't.
me,
Yeah.
that's an arousal spike. That's an urgency spike. That's like, oh my God, I'm that much closer to not winning this, right? There's like a
Mhm.
threat to it. And you're so great at understanding what real threats are. Real threats in terms of leg entanglements, real threats in terms of maybe going off the mat, real threats in terms of time, something like that. But like
Yeah.
you're really able to filter out the shit that's like fake news.
It's
Like
fake. It's
just
all fake.
yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
noise. It is just
Yeah.
noise. And the other thing is someone who can ignore the external noise is unable to ignore their internal noise, right? And so for
Yeah.
some people, have you seen Bruce Almighty?
Yeah. It's been a long time, but I
Yeah, so
remember it's
Jim
where it's like the
Carrey becoming
God.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so all of a sudden he's like hearing all these voices in his head, and they're in
Yeah.
the restaurant. You don't hear that? And so
Yeah.
that kind of feels like what it feels like because when you have a high arousal, high heart rate, your body's releasing norepinephrine and maybe even cortisol if you're kind of feeling threatened. How it's
Mhm.
like it makes it even harder to not control but to regulate. It makes it
Yeah.
harder to keep a wide lens instead of narrowing in on that tunnel vision of like I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And it's like
Yeah.
your self-regulation skills are so developed maybe that you
Yeah.
don't it's not conscious anymore. It's just kind of automatic because this is what
Yeah.
you do. You've done this
Yeah.
for so long. Wrestling is different culture, different types of, structure, but it's adjacent. It's
Mhm.
very
Definitely.
relevant. A lot of my
For sure.
research comes from wrestling, obviously, because that's going to be more studied for instead of just jujitsu
Yeah.
or right.
100%.
It's also more funded for that too. But
Yeah.
so a lot of it is that, but there's periods in wrestling, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
There's like it's like EBI overtime kind of
Yeah.
in
Exactly.
wrestling, right? So it's so interesting because it's built in. You may not get to choose if you are top or bottom.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Like, and there's also the ability to defer and go, what will be, my friend. Like,
Yeah. Whatever.
or I've had
100%.
clients that are like, I wanted to be top, but my coach put me on bottom, or vice versa, and I have to do
Mhm.
that. So, this is also bringing up the trust that you said, the trust that you don't need to know everything because the things you need to know will be filtered through Heath. You don't,
100%.
unless, so you're not taking the cue from the ref that says action. However, if Heath said, we got to move, come on, we got to move,
Yeah.
then
Exactly.
you'd respect that. So you're able to filter
100%.
through. And one of the things that like Michael Gervais, the sports psychologist, Dr. Michael Gervais, he says, have a FOPO list. Him and Brene Brown came up with fear of other people's opinion. They came up with like having a list. If you're not on my list, I don't care. If
Yeah.
even if
Exactly.
it's like some blue belt that's really good in the gym and respected, and he tells me I've got a good ankle lock, it's just going to be
Yeah. Who
like,
cares?
cool, right? If
Yeah.
he says I'm
Thanks,
shit
bro.
at ankle locks, cool. But if my
Yeah.
coach, if my main training partner, if someone that I know it's reciprocated, it's not just,
Mhm.
oh, coach, please, coach, help me. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, it's a coach athlete relationship. It's trust. That is a lot of the work. That is a lot of the work is
100%.
finding that. And I think you found that, which is
100%.
amazing.
Yeah. Definitely.
Um, any final thoughts that you would say? Because obviously you didn't know at this point, in the match that whether you were going into overtime or not.
Yeah. I was just ready. That's like, well, I was just like getting my stance and like just be ready to go to overtime. Um,
Right.
and
Were you like surprised or elated or
yeah, I was confused. I was like, I was like, hopefully I got this. But in my head, I told myself I didn't have it. I was like, I don't have it. We're going to overtime. I just like worst case scenario. I was like, worst case scenario, I didn't have it. We're going to overtime. Let's do this. I gotta take him down. Like I gotta take him down fast, and I gotta show that like I care about this, you know.
mm-hmm,
And so, because I was like,
mm-hmm.
I can't control whether or not they say, hey, you got the points. I could only control like, okay, you got to go, be ready to go for 3 more minutes. And then Heath was just telling me, he was like, you got 3 more minutes in you. He was like, he's not beating you in these next 3 minutes if you have to go. And I was like, all right. And then it was just a relief. I
Yeah.
told someone like, when I won, it was more of a relief than an excitement. Like I was like, I'm just so relieved to be done with this. And where it's like in my semifinal match, I was a lot happier because that was like a revenge match from like the
Hmm.
most embarrassing submission I've ever been hit with in my life. So I was actually really excited after winning that one. And this one, I was just relieved. I was just like, thank God this is over. Like I love competing. Don't get me wrong, but man, anyone who's done ADCC trials just knows how hard it is, man. Like I faced my first day, I had just a regular hobbyist guy, but then my second day I faced a Division 1 college wrestler in my first match, barely beat him. Second the match after that, I had a freaking high school kid who just wouldn't let me take him down. So I went to overtime with this high school wrestler, very good high school wrestler. I was like, what the heck? I
Yeah.
can't take this high school wrestler down. Then I beat him, and then it's like just from those two matches, I was just so dead. And then in the semifinals, I was able to kind of get to my offense and get the guillotine. And in this match, it was another scrap. So I had some battles on the day, and I was just like so happy. Like it's been a couple days, right? My body feels terrible still. I feel horrible, right? Because it's just a different type of tournament. Plus, you have I mean, I don't know, I don't know the science of it, but I'm guessing it's like after all the adrenaline's gone, it's like I'm just so sore, right? So I think I was just so relieved to be done. I was like, oh man, I don't have to do the second trials. I feel good. Uh, whatever. And it's hard to kind of describe, how it felt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm gonna stop this. As far as debriefing after the fact, what are three things that you did? It could be physical, mental, strategic, technical, that you did that you would do again in a future performance.
Uh, well, of course, the making sure I do my warm up and then my cool down after, like after every match, I jog for 2 minutes and then walk for a minute. And it sounds weird, but it's just to get my heart rate down. I even did it after the finals. I don't care if it's the finals or the first match. Like it was just do my cool down after every match. So that was the physical. The mental thing is also like just keep telling me every match is the finals. Like there wasn't. So for me, like we were preaching this for the whole trials camp was every match is the finals. So there's no such thing as quarterfinal, semifinal, final. Every match is the finals. And I think mentally that was good for me to just be like, I got to win these matches. And then what was the third one? We said mental, physical,
Strategic or
and
technical?
strategic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Strategic was under the ADCC rule set. You have to kind of know what's what. Like there's lots of like little nuanced rules. So strategically, it's not just kind of one thing, but it's just making sure like I watch the rules meetings on YouTube and then watch matches. And very specifically, something I tell people was watch the 0-0 matches at ADCC Worlds. Watch the matches that were 0-0. Like don't watch Gordon's matches. Those are not good matches to watch. They're good for like studying like very specific techniques, but they're not good to watch. He's so much better than everyone else. It doesn't matter, right? Watch the 0-0 matches, right? Like my favorite match recently to watch was Cyborg versus Giancarlo Bodoni. This was the semifinals of the ACC Absolute, and Cyborg wins, and I think I think Cyborg wins 0-0, and he just kind of wins with like, okay, we get to overtime, boom, near pass. Okay, I'm not going to commit to finishing this pass. Let me stop. Let me sit. Okay, da da da. We get to the takedown. All right, I'm going to shoot a single leg. He's resisting. Let me let go. All right, it's so as boring as that is, like it's not for me. It's not about the fans, right? He said that too. It's not about the fans. Who cares? Everyone. My job is not to please the fans. My job is to win. And so it's like you gotta like learn how to win first, and then I think you can start to separate yourself after you get the victory. I remember when I won my first national title, like my matches were all very, very close. And then after that, like the following 2 years, I pretty much just killed everyone. And I think it's important to kind of figure out how to win, and then you can figure out how to separate yourself. And you don't always have to just separate yourself immediately because that's just not the reality of things. And even wrestling is sport, it's easier to separate yourself, right? It's easier to just be the best guy at takedowns. Even in a sport like jiu-jitsu, takedowns are harder. For lots of reasons, takedowns are harder. Submissions, no shoes, no stalling calls. Whoa. And then added the fact that there's the rest of jiu-jitsu. So like the actual separation is much harder than it seems. So I think more than anything, like we all want to have like super cool highlight reels. I love highlight reels, but it's like, can you put
Hmm.
together 5 matches? It doesn't matter how you do it, right? You put together 5 matches, great. He told me too, like a week before, he was like, blah 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 won ADCC in 1990, whatever. He was like, and I was like, okay, cool. He was like, so you know this guy's an ADCC champion now, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, from 19 whatever. It's like, do you know how he won? And I was like, I have no idea. He was like, exactly. It's like we gotta win. Like we gotta win the matches. So that's kind of a little bit of a ramble, but like those are kind of the things that like I would tell people to kind of focus on.
The rambles and rants and vents are where I get the most uh juice
Yeah,
from
I get
all
it.
of these, right? So that's why
Yeah,
I love just like letting it go, because
100%.
plus I have ADHD. I will follow on every branch of that
Yeah,
to be able to follow up. But like I love how you said like we love a good highlight because
yeah.
it's hard not to be influenced by, well, if I don't win, at least I have a really cool highlight reel for my confidence and for my fans and for my followers. And then if I get more followers, I can get more sponsorships. And if I get more
Mhm,
sponsorships, then, and maybe it's not like that anymore because it was more of a hustle, like,
mhm.
8 years ago when I was doing it full time. But like being able to think about just winning and just the match is a luxury in some
Yeah,
way, right?
yeah.
What are the three things that you would do differently?
I did too many sprints. This was something that sounds
Mm.
so random. I was like testing out something new. I was like, okay, I need to try to get my heart rate up a little bit more before these matches, and I did too many. Like I did 3 sprints before every match, and my legs were cooked. Like I was like, okay, let's not do that again. Let's maybe do 1 sprint before every match just to get the heart rate going a little bit. It sounds like something silly, but I was testing
No,
something out. I was like, let me. So my lungs felt good, but my legs felt dead, and it really showed in my quarterfinals match against the high school kid. I couldn't get like my I I know every competitor knows there's like these moments where your feet just feel heavy, your legs feel like, and I was just like,
quicksand.
man, I'm killing this kid in the hand fight. Like he's not really doing anything, but like I just can't. There was a couple times I snapped him down on his face and I couldn't chase corner. Like my
Hmm.
whole life in wrestling, I was so good at just snapping down and chasing corner. And then my feet felt so heavy, and I was like, okay, maybe you don't need to do 12 sprints today, while you're competing. Maybe just do some stance and motion, some jumping jacks, and uh, keep your sprints at the beginning after your first match. Do a couple sprints, and then before every match, just do a smaller warm up. Um, because I was cooked, like my legs are still cooked, so that was something. Mentally, uh, man, mentally, I focused too much, I think, on my opponent still. Like with Nick, I focused too much on like, man, he's gonna be able to leg lock me if I do something stupid. But then like I train with Jacob Couch, bro. I train at PSF. I train with the best. I train with much better leg lockers than him. Right? No offense to him. He's an amazing guy and a great athlete. But I train with guys who have proven against top ranked world guys that they can leg lock those guys. And I'm able to get out against those guys sometimes. So I'm like, dude, open up your passing more. Like, come on, bro. Like, you have good passing. Like, why are we not committing more? So I think it's kind of like a fluid thing where it's like I just got to learn to commit more and more. And I think I'm at like 70 jiu-jitsu matches now in like 4 or 5 years. So it's like I know like I'm slowly getting to where I'm getting a little bit more experience, where I'm kind of like a more of a veteran now. So I think the more matches I get with really good guard players, the more my confidence is going to go up with guard passing. It's like in the room, I feel like my guard passing is 10 times better than it is in matches. And I think the
Nice.
reason is I'm too cautious. I'm too cautious about exactly what my partner's going to do. And I have to keep reminding myself that, like, dude, what are they going to do to you? They're going to leg lock you. Come on, bro. You're doing leg locks every day. Like,
Hmm.
you're very good at leg lock defense. So that's something that I'm going to continue to work on. Again, I'm probably going to face Nick Hartman again in like 3 weeks from now at the New World. So, you know, maybe he leg locks me. Maybe I leg lock him. I don't care if I win or lose the match. It's really just like I want to kind of give myself an opportunity to separate myself, which I hadn't done. And strategically, um, I think, I think, honestly, I think I was pretty on point strategically in this tournament. So I wouldn't really change much there. I feel like I was the most prepared with the rules in my head. Um, especially like in the one overtime match I had. This is another good piece of advice you can do ADCC. If people watch that match with that 18-year-old wrestler kid. In overtime, I knew he was going to just bump block me like he did the whole match, so I wasn't going to be able to get to his legs. He's big, strong, young, fast kid, so I was like, I can't get to his legs. But I know that under ADCC rules, if I just start firing off shots, I'm going to be up. So I counted in my head. It's like I counted, I think, like if you watch them, I think it's 6 or 7 shots. I was just like, shoot. Okay, again, shoot. Okay, again, shoot. And then at the very end, with like 10 seconds left, I shot and got it to the leg, and I was like, I won this match. Like, there is no chance that he's going to win this match. So it's just like, I'm happy I only had one overtime match because usually at ACC tournaments I end up having more. But this time I was able to do a little bit better. I think maybe I could have given him more opportunity. I could have kind of opened myself because I have a good guillotine, right? I think something I did bad in that particular match is I could have just kind of given him my leg and created some scrambles instead of making it go to overtime. My coach kind of talked about that a little bit. They're like, dude, this kid's 18, he's young, he's fast, he's a good wrestler, but like you're so much better than him at jiu-jitsu. Like if he's shutting down your wrestling by stalling, just give him a leg, let action happen. So I think if I were to like have that match again with that young kid, I think I would kind of let him get to stuff so I could actually open up scrambles because we've all, again, because of the way that stalling calls are called in jiu-jitsu, especially in the stand-up, you can look like a much better wrestler against a good wrestler with very specific tactics. Whereas like in wrestling, you can't get away with that because of the stall calls and the shoes and the push-out rules. I think I have to start to let go of my no, we all have an ego, right? Because we're all humans have an ego. Like the ego is it's like, but I could just kind of let go of trying to look perfect when I'm wrestling and kind of let people get in on the attacks on me so I can kind of create some more action. And that's something that I need to kind of continue to work on.
You know, something that you're saying about focusing on the opponent too much. This is something that I've done with more low level people who are more hobbyists or blue belts or purple belts, whatever, that are like, it's not as like, that's not their career. But if they're focusing too much, I say, don't even look. Don't even look. Don't look beforehand. Don't look at the match. If your coach wants to scout for you and give you some information, but the minute that a coach comes over and says, hey man, this guy's really good at arm bars, make sure you protect your arm, like do your thing, but like he might arm bar you. So like be prepared to go for the arm bar, like, just, stack, and all of a sudden arm bar. I happened to one of the kids and she just went out. She had an amazing first match, second match, her coach did that and she got arm barred. I don't know if she would have got arm barred if they didn't say that, but she was no longer thinking about what she wanted and what she was good at. And so what you're describing is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is do I even try this? Do I have the ability to do this? Well, have I had some mastery experiences before? Have I done it before? Even if it's in training, have I actually, you're sourcing, like one of the previous times that I've had success, you have feedback, which is verbal persuasion. You have your ability to manage your psychological states, which we know that you're able to do really well. That's above average. And then vicarious experience, if it's something new, it's like, have I seen it done before? Right. So it's not like if you're just, I don't know if this is going to work. Like you said, the Junie lock, right? Like, that it works because you've seen Junie do it and other people do it. So you're going to go for it. But the idea is that there is patience and there's hesitation. I deal in the high level, I deal with the hesitation. Are we hesitating because of the unknown? Are we hesitating because the last time you did this, it didn't turn out well? Are you hesitating because of what you know about your opponent and you are discounting your own abilities and kind of hijacking and believing and counting into this person more than you're counting on yourself? Right?
Exactly. That's what I was doing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Yeah. And so but that's normal because when you think about your central nervous system, it's scanning for threats because guess what? If you miss a threat, you're dead. The woolly mammoth or saber-toothed tiger is going to they're going to get you, right? But if you miss an opportunity is like, there'll be more. I'm still here. I'm still alive, right?
Yeah.
So that ability to say, I can manage threats, which you did well. Your little Grinch dance out of the, being in the mount position where you would have been susceptible to the leg locks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You were like, I'm getting the hell out of there. Most high-level guys, when we think of high-level guys, we're like, oh, they never fear anything, and they go forward no matter what, and they don't avoid, and they don't. It's like, no, being strategic is what makes you win. You have to be physical. You have to have the mental power. You have to have the strategic and the technical. Like, you have to have all of that. and it has to be well-rounded and balanced and attuned to your personality, the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you have your coach athlete relationships, your environment, your peers, the food you're putting in your body. Like, all of these things matter. Mental is just as important. And I think that this hopefully kind of showed of like how you debrief, how you reflect, how you go over, well, why did I make that decision? And what was I thinking at the moment? And sometimes if this was a loss that we were studying, it would be a little bit of self-compassion to say, I did what I had, or I did what I could with what I had. I took what was there and I made those decisions with that, performance state, with that mood, with those emotions, all of that. So it's kind of like a forgiveness almost of like, if I didn't do what I intended to do, if I didn't fulfill the goal, can I still say that I had a good performance? Hell yeah. There are always good things. We do not throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
For sure.
We've all had those
Yeah.
losses. It's like, oh God, I
Yeah.
don't even want to watch. You know what I mean? But there's
That's
still
me
good
too.
and still things to fix, right? So like you
Yeah.
obviously have that neutral stance of being like, yeah, maybe some things can be cringe sometimes, but cringe just means that I went for it. Cringe
Yeah,
just means
exactly.
that like I'm trying, I'm putting out effort. And I'm pretty sure your values involve getting out there and doing the damn thing and having courage to be
That's it.
vulnerable and living in that
100%.
vulnerability to be like very, very Teddy Roosevelt of like the man in the arena. I want to
Yeah,
know what
exactly.
that feels like. And I'm not going to listen to the people in the cheap seats who are going to tell me that I'm this or I'm that or I should do it this way, because you might be questioning if you didn't have a good coach. You might be questioning if you were either beating everybody up in the room or never getting anything, right? So like you have a really great like environment, culture, strategy. You know how you learn best, and I think it's amazing. And I'm so stoked to see you in ADCC.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.